Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. And this was the season finale of Heart and Hustle Houston. This episode, I'm going to give this episode a 9. At the end, I will actually explain why. This is called The Secret is Out. The Secret is Out. And let me see if there is some way I can come on screen. The reason why I put this here, as you can see, this is the ladies at their girls' trip. From the far left, we have Elena. We have Labrina right next to her. Ro is there in the middle. Munira, Latoria, and I did not get Chloe's name on her. There was no real place to put it. It would have been right underneath her arm, but that's Chloe with the hoop earrings. So now we know these ladies. We have spent a season with them, a very good season. I'm proud of them. I think that they were excellent. I really do. I'm going to pop in. Excuse that extreme close-up, everybody. I'm going to pop in, and then I'll dip out to also show you the ladies again, okay? So thank you, everybody, for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Sandra P is Gen Extra, everyone. That refers to my generation, as well as you're going to get a couple of extras from me from different shows that I cover. I do a political minute from time to time, which can be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. So it's political discourse. Welcome into one of my moderators, my sisters. That's Mom 59 Works. Thank you so much for joining me today. Team Replay, I want to thank you so much for following through for the entire season. We made it, everybody. I wanted to dip in and say hello, and then I'm going to go through, and I'll come back in at the end, because as I discussed the ladies, since this is their first season, Heart and Hustle Houston, it is an own show. I watch it on Philo. It's replayed on Philo. So I wanted you to actually know who the ladies are, and that's why I put this graphic up. So let me go back out. Okay, and as I talk about them, you'll see who they are. And then excuse me in advance. I'm going to be drinking water throughout because I keep my house warm. And my throat gets dry, so I'll be drinking water throughout, okay? Thank you so much, Mama 59 Works, one of my moderators, says, please also share the video. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And I thank you so much for that. Now, this episode, we start with the beautiful Elena. Look at Elena on the left. She was the last one into the girls' trip. We'll talk about that some more. So Elena is still, thank you, Heart and Hustle Houston production. They didn't leave us waiting because they made us wait all season. Josh and Elena are in their marriage counseling. Josh is looking like a kicked puppy dog because they have left it open for the audience to speculate what went on, what happened, what was the betrayal. I heard that there was a baby. I heard another man. None of those things were true as far as why he ended up in another bedroom, or as a friend of hers and one of her clients, Latoya Luckett, said, not rubbing feet, was because the betrayal was financial, y'all. Financial. So what that means is, and what Elena shares with us, because the doctor just straight out asked him, she said, okay, what is it? What happened? We find out that the betrayal is financial. So with this financial betrayal, Josh lost hundreds of thousands of dollars day trading. And I don't think it stuck out enough. I don't think enough emphasis was put on it. This cost the family their home. Elena, Josh, they have 2 children, y'all. They have 2 small children. We heard from Elena. We saw the scene with her mother, how she was raised to put on that perfect face. And that is what you show to the outside world. So this financial betrayal, I can't say if it was deeper than if it had been cheating. She forgave cheating. Remember that. She let us know that she feels like she set a precedent in her marriage because Josh cheated during the engagement. Josh cheated before they ever got married, and she still went through with the wedding. So she had forgiven him for that, and she still allowed the wedding to go through. But with this financial betrayal, Elena says she was embarrassed. And the therapist, I love this therapist. She does a very good job. Ro also used her as a therapist as well. at Elena's suggestion. She said Josh broke the covenant of marriage. I felt that was so important because a lot of people just think of breaking the covenant of marriage that it has to be something physical or sexual or emotional cheating. No, this was a financial betrayal, and it split up their family just as hard as any other betrayal. Josh is saying at that moment he felt small. We find out that Elena and Josh were in business together. She removed him from the business after this happened. We got to see her open up her new Color du Jour studios. We got to see her with her first client that set foot in the door was Latoya Luckett, actress, singer. We know who Latoya Luckett is, Houston legend. They know Latoya Luckett in Houston, and I'm going to say worldwide because we remember her from Destiny's Child, but she also has many, many roles. She's on Divorced Sisters. I loved her on Greenleaf. So The Preacher's Kid is one of my favorite Latoya Luckett roles. I couldn't stand Tank for years after Preacher's Kid. Latoya Luckett can act, y'all. Latoya Luckett can act. So he's saying he wanted to change their lives. And Elena was asked what she believed motivated that decision. Elena said, because I was the breadwinner. Josh pipes up, I have a problem with her defining herself as a breadwinner. This is where some men go wrong. If she was earning more money than Josh, she was the breadwinner. And Josh, I don't know if he had friends in his ear or family in his ear or just his own sense of maybe not being enough for Elena, that he allowed that to get in his head. This man goes out here day trading. There was a time when people did try to make that look easy, and they'll tell a lie about how much money they're making online and all this kind of stuff. I was security licensed for over 20 years. A lot of people that know me know, and I've shared even on this channel. I chose to leave financial industry, the brokerage industry, but it is something that it does take training. In addition, with that training, there's some luck that comes into it. There's a lot of research that has to be done. You don't just jump online and start day trading. So what Josh did was reckless. It was like gambling. And Elena explained, she said after he had lost, he was trying to make the money back. Just because you may have had a great trade and made, I'm filling an amount for Josh. She said he lost hundreds of $1,000s. So he may have gotten lucky, or he may have made a right decision one or two times. Now they're up. Instead of, okay, now you take your win and go home, because basically he's gambling. I haven't heard anything about Josh that says he's qualified to be a trader. And yet he's out here gambling with the family's money and lost hundreds of thousands to the point where now they had to relocate homes. Huge betrayal. So he had a problem with her even defining herself as a breadwinner, saying he was helping with the business. Yes, he was helping with the business, but make no mistake about it. We saw Elena give credit to her mother for recognizing a talent in Elena to do makeup, beat faces. Elena had friends at 15 coming into the house. Elena's using her own products and supplies on these girls' faces. And the mother's saying, wait a minute, are they paying you? And she got Elena business cards. She recognized the talent in her daughter that fortunately turned into a career that she loves. And she's doing big things. I'll follow her over there on Color du Jour on IG. So he said he was in some type of holding pattern. Now, I don't know the time frame. Was it during the beer virus? That was 2020. A lot of people sitting at home. So there were non-qualified investors, I'm sure, making large investments. People made a lot of money. People also lost a lot as well. So Elena's saying that it has changed her. She says she is not trusting. She feels like she's good girl turned cold. And I did see a sense of numbness and a sense of almost coldness in Elena. I also see throughout the course of the season, sometimes they just be having conversation. You can see the tears right underneath, like she's going to bust out crying. And she actually did do that at a lunch meeting with Labrina and Munira last episode. So everyone was thinking it was a baby and infidelity, and here it is, a financial betrayal. So that holding it out to the last episode, it did cause all type of speculation. Josh speaks from what I believe to be his heart, but then I'll give you what I think about it too. Josh says, I want this. I want you. From the beginning, I loved you, and I still do. Elena cries. You know, part of her did want to hear this. He has made her wait too long for this. When we first see them in the first couple of episodes, and she's talking about, are they going to go, she wants marital counseling, couples counseling, and he lets her know, and I think he was telling the truth, He believes in individual counseling first, and then he wants them to come together as a couple. Then we find out later that the man had only been to one session. So how serious was he? So now here's what I think. I have a heart for love, especially Black love, especially the Black family. But then there's some time when you have to cut ties. I think Josh saying what she finally wants to hear, he withheld this from her. He was kind of, I think, maybe a little resentful of her being the breadwinner. I can just hear his friends, oh, you took a job in your wife makeup business or family. That's why you don't listen to these people putting these poison in your ears. There was nothing wrong with both of them working in her business. There was 100% everything wrong with him spending hundreds of thousands of dollars losing it from that same business. Even if he was joint on an account, to me, I look at it as basically he stole. So Elena's crying. She is hearing what she wanted to hear finally. I think Josh doesn't want to lose his breadwinner. He's been detached, in my eyes, from episode 1. I just see it in him. They say it's hard to move past those big hurts. The therapist asks Josh what he's hiding. He gets emotional. He says he let himself and his family down. It's a double whammy for him, but he promised he's trying. I believe he's trying. I don't believe he's trying for the right reasons. I don't think he wants to be seen as, oh, you fumbled a bag. You lost Elena, you lost your family. He didn't lose. They're just moving into a different stage as a family. I've heard she's filed for divorce. So she is separating. They've already separated the business. Now she's separating homes. Okay. So next we see Labrina. Labrina is saying, okay, Napa in Texas. She's walking into the girls' trip, which she has hosted. Chloe comes in exclaiming, dainty cowgirl, because I want y'all to see what they have on. Lord, can I go back and okay, this is the clothing that they had on when they arrived. You know, I love how these ladies greet each other. They hype each other up. They boost each other up. So Labrina, she did look pretty with what she had on. We have Latoria in her flower dress. She arrived. She looked pretty. Unira comes in. She said, it feels like we're in Napa. Unira is always dressed to a T. She's another one. I don't know if she thinks she does, but she presents a perfect image that I don't know is really true or not. We're going to see some activity between her and Elena that I've been giving in the previews for the past couple of weeks. So when Latoria came in her flower dress, Chloe's like, okay, lemon squeeze. They hug. I love how they boost each other up. Rose and magenta, which she calls purple, said, this is nice. This is nice. You know, we love Ro. Ro is a real one. She says, I'm outside. I figure I'll wear purple. Elena's the last one in. She has on her flower dress. She's looking beautiful, of course, but she's like, I finally made it. And then we get confessional Elena saying she's never had a girls' trip because she didn't feel comfortable in the marriage to take a girls' trip, which tells me that she never fully trusted Josh to be in charge of that business. Again, that was her business and is her business, starting from the age of 15. Okay. So Chloe asks, what's wrong, Elena? Because Elena is feeling shaky, and Chloe's very emotionally mature and intuitive, which is why when she missed what she missed in Nico, it was kind of surprising to me. But then again, sometimes when things are close to you, very close, you can't see it if you're one of those people. So Chloe reads that energy that there's something off. Labrina, they all get to sit around, they talk, they're toasting each other. Labrina's telling us that she used to be a hairstylist. So she went from that to a salon owner. And that we find out Rose in her soft girl era, they all tell her they like that purple instead of the black all the time. And Rose tells us she's glad that she can speak to this group without them like taking on her burdens. And I know what she means. She said sometimes when she speaks to her family, it's kind of like she's taking on their burdens. Welcome in, Sharon Gobble. Thank you so much for coming in during the live review. Heart and Hustle Houston. We made it through to the finale. And it was a good season. We'll talk about it some more, but I ended up giving this season a 9. I give the season a 9 and the episode a 9. So I think I will come back on camera since y'all can see these ladies. Okay, so we got Chloe. All the ladies are there. They're joking. As they leave, I thought it was funny. I overheard Labrina joking. She's leaving behind Manira, talk about, Manira, why your butt so big? I like how comfortable they are with each other. They said, Latoria, bring your wine. Latoria's like, yeah, I'll drink that later. So that night, we get to see the ladies getting ready. Okay, they gave a little bit of Real Housewives tease. You know how they show them doing their glam. Ladies getting ready. Labrina says, I wanted to just do something special for all of the ladies. We're going to have a private chef. We're going to have homemade desserts. And they had a lady, her name was Allie. She's kind of like a manager of the vineyard, and she like hosts the groups and tells them what they're going to have and that kind of stuff. I did like that. Earlier, they were asking her, do you have grape stomping? They don't have grape stomping right now, but that's something they have. And Latoria had me laughing. She was talking about, I wouldn't be comfortable with it. She was joking that she had dated a guy, and she said his toenails looked like sunflower seeds or something, and they were like ranch or regular flavor. It was something. They're funny. I love the way they tease each other. So the private chef, they had their wine, they had the homemade dessert under the stars. Chef's name is Chef 7. Chloe immediately, Chloe's giving her man eater energy. She says, Chef 7 is a 10. She said, Chef 7 is a 10. And then Latoria's like, thank you, Allie. Thank you, Chef 7. And Chloe got the nerve talking about not too much on Chef 7. I found that really funny. Welcome in, CC. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. So she said, not too much on 7. So Chloe's letting it be known she's going to be flirting. She's going to be out here flirting with Chef 7, which I found kind of cute. I liked it. Let me change over to the Heart and Hustle Houston. Okay, so they end up, they're having dinner. We get Chloe also asked him where he's from. He said he's from Detroit. She said, do you work out? And he's like, yeah, I work out. She said, I could tell. And then I told Elena last week to stop judging. We had Elena judging. Elena talking about, I just find it weird. You get to this stage in your relationship and that if you're not exclusive, and Chloe's like, he knows what it is. Chloe said, there's no ring on my finger. So I agree with Chloe about that. I mean, come on, Jordan's right now, he may be a plaything or whatever. Chloe let us know that she's open to marriage, but Jordan let us know that Jordan seemed to me like he's playing around a little bit. So I didn't like I actually didn't like Elena judging. And then Chloe didn't like it either, because Chloe gets in a confessional and she's like, Chloe said, you have more than enough to worry about. She said, stop attacking me. You're attacking me for no reason right now, girl. Go heal. I wrote that down. I said, ooh, go heal. I had to agree with Chloe on that. Let me make sure I have these comments up. Yeah, the chef was handsome, Sharon Gabo. I did like the way Chloe was flirting with him, too. There were other single ladies there. Latoria single, Rose single. Nothing was stopping them from flirting as well. And Chloe, not with the ring on her finger, she's single as well. And then with Elena having her own problems, I'm with Chloe. Stop judging and go heal. So as they are talking, Chloe asked what we have been asking for weeks, what the audience wanted to know. Chloe is like, what was it? Was it strippers? What? She was naming all these things that could have been. And Elena, you know how Elena tried to play her cards close to the chest. She's telling everybody that there was a problem, but she's not saying what. She's like, why you got to know what it is? Why you got to know the full details? Chloe's like, I just want to know. So she starts telling the group, actually, y'all, Munira brought that up. Did you and Josh ever get to have your couples counseling? So Elena did disclose, yeah, we did have the couples counseling. And that's when Chloe started asking for details. So they found out Josh was day trading. He panicked. He started losing money and trying to make more. We get all the ladies in a separate confessional. Confessional row was like, oh, he took your money? That's why you put him out the bedroom. She said he's lucky. He would have been not just out of the bedroom. He would have been out of the house. I agree with Ro on that. That is a betrayal. That's almost unforgivable, especially since it changed the family's lifestyle and they end up in a different home. Labrina says, oh, I could kind of see. We didn't know exactly what was going on, but she kind of sees it. Munira lets us know that I had been there for her. She didn't know details, but she had been there for her. Munira says there was a dark cloud energy that was hanging over Elena, and sometimes we don't know how to handle you. Elena seized on that dark cloud comment, y'all. She didn't like it. She didn't like it at all. But I could hear Chloe, and I could also hear Rose saying, yeah, because at that time, and Ro, I heard her say, at that time, we didn't know because you were still pretending everything was perfect. We did get this energy from Elena throughout the season. She was not only pretending that everything was perfect, but she would kind of push, excuse me, she would kind of push people back a little bit if they got in her business. But the funny thing is, at the same time, she leads with Josh and I are sleeping in separate bedrooms, and then you start hearing the negative as far as what's going on with her. So Elena seizes on that dark cloud comment, and she's offended, and she starts to go kind of back and forth with Munira, and Munira is saying that Munira, no, they didn't go back and forth at that time. Confessional Elena says she's not ready to hear anyone else's opinion. Okay, so at breakfast, we get Munira coming in. The apple juice has like this much left. She said, "Who drank my apple juice?" Latoria lies. "Not me." Rose said, "Okay, I'll admit it. It was Latoria and me." They're laughing at that. Remember, this was a bone of contention between Munira and Latoria, because Munira gets offended if people refer to her as too young, and she doesn't drink. So at some point, Latoria was saying, "Oh, you drink apple juice because, she looks so young or acts so young." And then she brought it to Latoria's attention, who got kind of offended and says, "Okay, I'll stop with the jokes." So we get a confessional of Latoria saying she's glad they moved through an uncomfortable misunderstanding. That is what friendships go through. And, that she's happy that they moved through. So they are at breakfast. Elena asks, what is the best part of the weekend, or the most impactful part of the weekend? Latoria mentions, Latoria kind of speaks in parables sometimes. Sometimes you're going through the same storms, but you may not be going through the same storms. Make sure that you're willing to lend your sister your umbrella. So Elena is saying that she felt that in one of the friendships, she was not being checked on. She's talking about Munira. And Chloe is agreeing that, she said, well, you did have a dark cloud. Munira is explaining a friendship goes two ways. So we're finding out that Munira doesn't feel that Elena checked on her as much as she checked on Elena during the friendship. Yeah, Elena does need to focus on her own problems. She's one of those friends that can give you an earful of advice and their own life is going off the rails. Yeah, even with the counseling, you could tell they were not in love. And I feel like Josh, if he was trying to save everything, he saw that breadwinner walking out the door. Elena's what you call an earner. Sometimes the men try to keep those or get them back. Excuse me. CC is saying what I think. Elena seems to expect more than she gives from everybody but Josh. So that I find that so interesting, because I said, okay, excuse me. When I saw the preview last week, I said, why is Elena bucking up at Munira? She needed to save some of that energy toward Josh, but we don't see her doing that. Excuse me. I don't have a cough button. I'm going to turn the mic off. Thank you. I don't know why my throat is so dry. So Elena was saying that she doesn't like negative energy. She thinks of dark cloud as kind of negative. So she did not like Munira doing that. But I would have to agree with Munira on this. Elena is one of those strong-willed personalities where if she's not feeling well or something's off, you can tell, and it does have the power to impact the whole group. So that's true. We get a confessional with Munira. She's telling us she was in a space where she lost 7 relatives, and she was still checking in on Elena, but she says to the group, Elena's the type person that wants you to check in every day, and I could not do that. Cece's saying, do you think Josh lost all that money, or a combo of lost and parked some elsewhere? If he was day trading, Cece, it is perfectly possible to believe that he could have lost all that money. Because when she said hundreds of thousands, and then we know that the house was impacted and they had to change homes, I do believe he lost it. He doesn't strike me as bright enough to be parking something elsewhere. And when he said, I love you, I want this, I've always wanted this, it seemed like somebody that knew he was moving out of that bedroom to further down the street, as Rose said. And we find out after the show, she's filed for divorce. So Munira was saying that Elena didn't really check in on her, and she had lost 7 relatives. Rose said we didn't know what was going on because she was still acting like everything was okay. They back on this conversation. I heard Elena say, I'm talking to her. So she was very soft with the way she handled, because Chloe was piping up too, but Elena was different how she handled Chloe versus how she handled Munira. As Munira started to speak, Elena, because she was offended about the dark cloud comment that was made the night before, everything Munira says, Elena's like, okay, go ahead. And that's cutting somebody off. That's cutting somebody off. And Elena is very passive aggressive as well. So Labrina brings up, I love Labrina's energy. Labrina always brings it home as to what it is. Labrina says, so what the theme is, you feel that Munira wasn't reaching out, and that's a level of expectation in a friendship. So they are having a back and forth. Munira finally says, you are dissecting everything that I say. You're not letting me finish my point, not letting me finish my thought process, and I need you. Elena interrupts and said, go ahead. But she's not letting her go ahead. She's interrupting her. She said, I, as a friend, would never use the term dark cloud. I, as a friend, would never use negative energy. I, as a friend, am there when you need me. So she's doing her passive aggressive thing. And Munira says, you know my heart. Elena says, no, I'm learning you. So now this hurt Munira. Just like dark cloud or negative energy impacted Elena, I don't know your heart or no, I'm learning you, hurt Munira. She says, we have met, we have talked to each other, we have shared things with each other. Here's what, Munira, that I didn't like. When you lost your father, I called you. You're supposed to do that, okay? Don't throw up what you did for me. See, I could see both sides of what they were going through in this friendship when they were having these conversations. Elena has been raw since episode 1 with what she's going through with Josh, but she also has given more energy to people that she did not give to Josh. Like when she was even Chloe felt attacked about the chef. So Elena's no shrinking violet. She got a mouth and she can use it when she wants to. Right now, she's using it on Munira. Munira says it's moments like that that make her pull back. We get Labrina in a confessional. Remember, this is her trip. She's saying, we didn't come here for this. They are good friends. What are we doing? So Munira says, okay, you know what? And she removes herself. She goes outside. And then Labrina's saying, you need to fix this. Chloe said, y'all got me stressed out. Because this is their girls' trip. They were having a great morning, a great night before. So now Elena I feel like she already came on off energy. She feels a little bit betrayed by Munira, who initiated the conversation about whether or not Josh and Elena had gone to the couples therapy. We don't know if Elena was ready to share that or not. As soon as that came up, then Chloe started pushing, wanting to know more details. So now Elena, who holds cards close to the chest and has this perfect face on, is talking about this before I think she was ready. So she's holding Munira responsible. Because Ro had questions, Chloe had questions, everyone had questions, but Munira is the one getting this work. And I think it is kind of how Munira is viewed. Munira doesn't share a lot. She's a content creator, so she knows how to make things look perfect as well. We saw the little Norm storyline with the mom, but we haven't seen a lot of Munira. We just haven't. So Munira gets up, walks outside. She's out in nature, y'all. She's in the cow pasture. She has her little camera and recorder with her. She's taking pictures and things like that. So Labrina tells Elena, you need to fix this. Elena goes after her. So she went out there and she says, how are you feeling? Munira says, I feel disappointed. I feel surprised. I feel hurt. And they start to talk. And then I'm glad Elena went after her, because as they started to talk, I probably would have distanced myself a little more and told her I needed more time, because I don't know. I think everything was still raw, and I hope things weren't just kind of fixed for the sake of TV, because they needed to have a deep conversation. Because I think Elena, Cece brought it up, that Elena seems to expect more than she gives. I think Elena is the type of friend that can dump on you and expect you to always support her in her dark times, being under a negative cloud, and she's not willing to give the same, repay in kind. Everybody doesn't walk around going, woe is me, whoa. That doesn't mean that there's not something wrong, and I don't need to sometime download on you. But if I start talking about myself and your eyes are glazed and you never want to hear it, I'm going to eventually have to distance myself from you. I have to protect myself. I have to keep my boundaries up, And then some people, they don't like that. I think that's what's going on between Munira and Elena. So Elena says first, she says, I love you, but okay, this is where she gets started again. Munira saying, I don't understand. We get confessional Munira saying, I notice when Elena gets hurt, she will target her and be hurtful. And that makes her pull back too. I've seen that in Elena as well. So Elena is accusing Munira of, you're minimizing my pain. You know, I don't like to hear about dark cloud or negative energy. You're still using those terms. And she's saying, I would never make a friend feel unsafe. I would never use words like dark cloud. So Elena's still, again, focusing on what she would never do, And then she says, but I love you. And Munira says, it's hard to hear I love you and then reconcile that with I don't know your heart. Remember when that came up, that almost propelled Munira away from the table. Because we've shared all these things. Munira's had 7 deaths in her family. Elena has lost her father. Elena is losing a marriage. Her family structure is changing. They've lost hundreds of thousands out of their household. Now, Munira doesn't know all the details, but she knows that there is something heavy on Elena, but can't use the term dark cloud. I don't know. They have a lot to sort through. So she says, to hear I don't know your heart and then try to reconcile that with I love you, that hurts. Elena says, I admit it was a jab. Yeah, I told y'all, Elena can jab. When Elena's hurt, she reaches out and she can jab. She can be passive aggressive. She'll never curse you out. She probably rarely to have ever been in a fight unless someone attacked her. I know she'd defend herself, but Elena's one of them types. And Munira knew it was a jab and received it as such. So Munira was saying in her mind, it's okay to have a dark presence about you. Elena rejects that. She's like, I don't love when you say dark energy or any of that. Peggy Brown, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in during the live for Heart and Hustle Houston. We're still on the girls trip. We've gotten to the point where we're speaking about Munira and Elena had to actually leave the group to finish this conversation because it's really sensitive conversation. Sharon Gobble says, Elena has so much to say about everyone else, but when she's questioned, then it's a problem. Yes, we saw that with Chloe. She's going to judge Chloe because she said, I think it's weird you're at the stage in a relationship and you're not exclusive. I didn't see anything wrong with Chloe flirting with Chef 7. I don't know if he said he was single or not. I assumed he was a single man because he didn't check her or anything. She says she's single. There's no ring on her finger. Peggy Brown agrees. She says, I agree. Elena expects more than she gives. Yeah, and I know that sometimes there are times in a friendship, in this relationship, where I may be going through more than you, or it switches. You're now going through more than me. But we should support each other and have that back and forth instead of just one person always dumping on the other person. Right now, or what we've seen over the course of these 8 episodes, it was Elena going through what she was going through with Josh, which we finally found out this episode what it was. It was a financial betrayal and not a physical or sexual or emotional with another woman or other man. People were saying everything. The fact that they didn't disclose what it was, it left the door open for a lot of speculation. So we know that this betrayal was financial, even though he has it in him to cheat as well, because he did that before they even got married, but she forgave that. So the cows start moving like, oh, they feel this negative energy, Elena. They feel this dark cloud. They start moving. So Elena's joking. The cows are making sure things stay cordial. And Munira's like, oh, yes, of course it's going to be that. So Elena's joking. I guess they're getting the energy. So, and Munira's saying, oh, maybe it's the conversation that we're having. Elena's wiping tears, still saying, I love you. You know, they hug each other. I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't trust it yet. Elena, I'm sure, can be an amazing friend, but she's at a time where she was going through so much that she just had blinders on toward anything else that someone else might be going through. In my opinion, I don't see her giving what the other ladies were giving her. So Elena's wiping tears. They hug each other. They hug it out. So back at breakfast, Labrina's saying she's glad that Munira and Elena pulled aside, got a chance to talk. So basically that is how that ended. We could go to the next morning. Let me put these ladies back up at breakfast, y'all. Sean Garbo is speaking to Peggy Brown. Yeah, Peggy came in and spoke. And then I'm gonna judge the season as well, y'all. Let me go back to breakfast, and then I'm gonna go off cam for a little bit so you can see all the ladies again as I'm talking. Okay, there we go. So we see where we had Elena in the far left with the flower dress. We had Labrina right next to her, who hosted the girls trip. Ro is there in her beautiful purple instead of her black. She's in her soft girl era. She's telling us she's outside. We have Munira in white. Latoria was in her flower dress, and that's Chloe. I didn't put her name on there, y'all, but she's got the big hoop earrings and she's still in her shades. That's from when they arrived. So the next morning, as they were getting ready to leave, Labrina hosted this trip. She is glad that the two ladies made up. She is glad that they all got to get together on the girls trip. Elena's first girls trip. I'm glad Elena came anyway. I'm going to give her that. I criticized her a little bit, but I'll have to give her that because sometimes it's hard because you could, when she came in, Chloe read that on her face. Are you okay? She read it on her that something was up. So I'm glad that she came on the girls trip. But she's welcoming them. I mean, Labrina, this is the end of the trip. She's hosted the trip. She has flowers. She says that she wants to give each of the ladies something, and she gives Munira white flowers for peace. We found out during this episode, Munira lost 7 family members. Now, y'all, I felt through the season, we really didn't see enough of Munira and that she wasn't giving enough. I hope this show gets a second season. I hope all 6 ladies are back, and I want to see Munira be less, I think she's trying to content create her scenes and everything. We saw her going, the mother, Chachi, with Norm, and then them sitting down and then fixing this problem or whatever. Cute little joking between the kids. She's taking the pictures. But we didn't really get anything, too much from Munira. So she's got white flowers for peace. And Labrina says she's fought for that within her family. Confessional Munira says she loved it. And then next we get Labrina gives colorful flowers. Elena's words were own it. She needs to own like what's going on. She did. She made a move as far as her next steps with Josh. Confessional Elena says she found it very thoughtful. She's in a space where she is relearning her space, her boundaries. She's starting over. She loves that other is able to see that in her. Labrina gives Latoria orange for confidence and watching herself heal, transforming when she was speaking of her dad. Latoria was another one who I thought was trying to kind of manage, trying to public relations, her scenes and all of that stuff. But I felt close to Latoria and I could see her growth and what she let the viewer in on throughout the season. I like Latoria a lot. I like all the ladies actually. So confessional, Latoria says she is a flower girl. She loves that. Next we get, y'all, I'm sorry, I didn't write down what color flowers that Chloe got, but Labrina gave flowers to Chloe. And confessional, Chloe found out she needs to forgive herself for how, when her husband passed away, the way that she treated Nico. We watched Chloe get so guilty over that and just convicted in herself. Like, I feel I'm a bad mom. Chloe's not a bad mom. Chloe was grieving. She lost her husband shortly after they were married, even though they were together for years. They have these little 7-year-old, I think twins together. Nico lost his dad. He was going through, even though he's 24, he presents to me as much younger. He was under Chloe's wing, and then she put the man in a position where he's almost man of the house. So they're reworking through that. I love what Labrina did, y'all. So everyone received something. Oh, Ro received red flowers, symbolizing love for herself, for recognizing her worth. We know she's looking for love. Confessional Ro says that Labrina's gift made her emotional, and she appreciates it so much. After that, we go back to the scene where they're all at breakfast. They're all receiving their flowers. And Latoria says, we're all receiving our flowers, but I want to take one out and give one back to Labrina. All of us to do that. They readily, Ro, all of them, jumped up to give Labrina flowers back. Labrina gets emotional, y'all. She's a tough girl, but Labrina got emotional. And Latoria said, sometimes the giver is not recognized. And Labrina really appreciated that. I thought that was really sweet. So all of the ladies give Labrina her flowers. Labrina says that she is intentional about, excuse me. Labrina says she's intentional about who she places in her life. All of these ladies, I'm going to show them one more time. I really like, okay. Hey, Ms. Z. Ms. Z snuck in here. How are you doing? Ms. Z, we're going to rate the season too. Did Chloe get white flowers for peace? That's it, Peggy Brown. She did. Chloe was conflicted, and she's grieving. So now we got 3 of the ladies that were grieving. Chloe lost her husband. Well, more. Elena lost her dad. Latoria lost her dad. Munira says she has lost 7 family members. This was a really powerful season. Welcome in, Ms. Z. Thank you so much. Oh, according to Chef, they filmed the show 3 years ago. Oh, okay. So we're gonna find out whether or not how up to date the end captions are, where they're telling us. Sharon Gobble said when she gave out flowers to each lady, that was a beautiful moment. And then they each gave her a flower back. That was just beautiful. That was real friendship. That was real sisterhood. CC, I really like Labrina as well. I think Labrina gets a 10 on the season. It does. It was a little rough with her and Pop, but I appreciated her showing that. That was really hard for her to show the viewer and open herself to being judged on how she's handled that. So I think this was, I love this show. So she's intentional about who she places in her life. That is important. And I rate the season a 9. I took 1 point away for the stunts. I'm not going to mention the name, but there was a stunt, maybe 3rd episode to midway through, where they thought they had to introduce some conflict that they didn't need. We had conflict. We had Munira getting into it with Elena. You had Latoria early on, started out kind of with Munira. We had Ro defending Latoria with this other person that try to interject. You think 9 is fair? Yeah, 9 is fair for the season. Because I think now finding out that they filmed it 3 years ago, I guess maybe they were shopping it to networks. OWN has a big name. OWN is Oprah Winfrey Network. I look side eye at OWN because of a show that I feel like they mishandled. Not only the star of that show, but the show, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Love and Marriage Huntsville is what I want. What Heart and Hustle to me is. But y'all, the numbers, they're right there at like 200,000 or so. I think they lost about 10,000 viewers last week. I was looking on TV Deets. And I don't know. I've heard some people say, oh, I can't really get into it. Or I think the ladies are giving a lot. CC agrees with the 9. Okay. And then Sharon Gobble, I give this season a definite 9. Yeah, I give it a definite 9. It's their first season. They all shared a lot. Elena, I guess they stretched out the her and Josh storyline because they felt like we needed it. But I think that did them a little disservice, y'all, because the speculation, people thought it was a baby. They thought he had a man, all kind of stuff they were thinking about Josh. Now, since we find out from Ms. Z, this was shot 3 years ago, the chef has said. Oh, they shopped it to Bravo, We, OWN, and VH1. Okay, I think depending on what network it went with, it could have been a lot messier. So we would have this other person probably would have been brought in here and had been fighting everybody. I guess OWN knows how to do something like this. I think OWN just got greedy with the numbers they were getting with Love and Marriage Huntsville when it was so messy. But again, they ended up hurting a lot of the audience because I just stopped watching that show, especially when Melody left. I didn't want to see it anymore. I didn't like that. So I like what they did with this show. I think the season does deserve a 9. I appreciate all the ladies and all that they shared, every single one of them. Houston has over 2 million people in it. That is a huge city. There's no way they should only have like 200,000 viewers. That's good for a season 1, but I hope it buys them a season 2. And I hope they don't feel like they have to get messy or ratchet things up, because we got to watch Latoria playing her Sweet 16 and Executed. That was such a good episode. I love that episode. I wanted to see Chloe decorate something. Ro, as we know, is in, she is still doing things for restaurants. This is also what they said at the end. They said that they kind of just gave an update. Munira is still doing okay with her mom and with Norm. Chloe and Jordan are talking about wedding bells. We'll see what happens with that. I can't remember if they said, I heard through, I think IG or somewhere else, that Elena has filed for divorce. Labrina, y'all know my favorite location on any reality show right now is the Will and Labrina Ranch. They have 50 acres, 5 acres. They went up in acreage. They went from something like 5 acres to 50 acres. So they're upgrading their ranch. So that's wonderful. CC is saying what I think. If CK wasn't a lecherous, evil hack and valued and listened to Mel, LAMH could have been saved and flourished. I think that too, because we watch Melody still doing everything that she wants to do and then more on her own without being weekly on a show. I mean, she'll go on TikTok and sell and do things like that, but she's been able to have a movie come out. She's expanded her brand, her product, 7th Avenue Beauty. She was, when she was still on that reality show, she's reality TV star of the year. I think that they got greedy over there and they didn't have to. Ms. Z said, this is right for OWN's brand, Black Excellence. Yeah, I think they hurt their brand with that other show, but I think if this is indeed what they want, they're going to get the type of viewer that they want, who spend money, who want to see real sisterhood, real friendship, conversations that we can have. We could get together and talk about it. I'm glad to see that Elena, it looks like she has filed for divorce from Josh, because that financial betrayal, she was already gone. And that's what the ladies would say. I think Labrina had a confessional where she said, that explains it. I could see that the love was gone. It's not just that they are not sleeping in the same room. She disclosed that they hadn't been intimate in something like 2 or 3 months because she couldn't trust this man. She said she lost trust for him. Ms. Z is agreeing at CC, yes. CK pew-pewed himself in the foot with that show. Had he made Mel an executive producer, she could have helped push the show in the right direction. I think he got jealous of his own star. That's what it looked like to me. And her other castmates felt the same, which I couldn't understand. Why are you jealous of the one that she shopped the whole thing, brought the show to the table? We found out, like with Heart and Hustle Houston, it went to different networks. Melody did all of that and then brought the people in that she knew and says, okay, here. And all they had to do, show their life, show their story, which I heard that they're over there having to do now. They got all kind of mess they have to put on screen. Whereas when she was over there, all they wanted to talk about was her and her husband at the time, Martell, and then her ex-husband. They still wanted her to still be over there stuck talking about that. It just wasn't a safe situation at all. Peggy Brown saying, you might have gotten cut off. Yep, Mel recognized. Yeah. That show was all about Melody. This show, the thing, I'm going to go down so we can see all the ladies again. What I love about this show is that this is a true ensemble cast. I loved Labrina a lot just because I liked how she conducted herself, how she always tried to pull the other ladies in. I love that about Labrina. I loved Rose's realness, her humor, her willingness to kind of show her slip a little bit. I mean, the girl took a pregnancy test on TV. Oh, we found out that she broke up with the NBA player. That was on her end card. Chloe, I loved. Chloe didn't mind showing her flaws as well. She was the comedic relief. She was the flirt. She was super sweet all the time, but you could tell that Chloe's nobody's punk either. She didn't let people run over her. We would see her in tears. Latoria kind of grew on me throughout the season. I think Latoria, being a public relations executive and owning her lemon line business, I think she thought she could kind of make the viewers see her a certain way. But I think Latoria kind of opened up when she talked about the loss of her dad. Labrina even brought that up. We got to see softer side of Latoria. Coming up to year 16, saying, okay, now I'm moving on to more philanthropic endeavors. I'm doing something else within the city of Houston. So I love that for Latoria. She knows she wants to be married. She knows she wants children. She's not settling for anything less. That was her end card, that she would consider adopting. So that is big. We've got Elena right there. Beautiful Elena. Elena was trying to hold something close, and then she just left room for people to speculate. So it is always better to spill your own tea so people are not trying to fill in blanks and coming up with any and everything. Munira, she started out, I think, just trying to let the viewer see what she wanted us to see. So I don't know if we got the real Munira or not, but there's still a lot there. I want to see all 6 of them back. I would love to see a season 2. The whole season gets a 9. This episode gets a 9. This has been wonderful. Oh, here's what Peggy Brown, when she was cut off, I'm going to read it. Mel recommended others to be cast, and they turned everyone down for nonsense. Yeah, and the whole cast turned against her. Even when they brought Nell Fletcher on, I thought, oh, good, I can't wait to see the Fletchers. Here they come. They'll get some backup. Same thing. Every single person Melody brought on, they ended up just turning on her. Stormy came on. Powerful businesswoman, already had her own brand, already known. Got jealous, let people get in her ear, like, you supposed to be queen bee. How you queen bee on somebody else's creation? It doesn't work that way at all. Cece says, I like all of the ladies in varying degrees. I don't like not seeing Chloe's son on any of her social, but she has an IG channel with her boyfriend. Munira is a mystery of sort to me. Yeah, Cece, I don't love that either. Maybe she wants Nico to set up his own identity since he's going to be a rapper and a music artist. I actually hope he kept in touch with Lil Flip and just go down to the studio and just be like a gopher. Do you need me to go for this? Go for that? Go pick up the food? Go do this? Just sit there and listen. Because he seemed to be much less outgoing than Chloe. And Chloe was just yak, yak, yak. And I was like, Chloe, let him talk. He needs to get out there and kind of sell himself. Ms. Z says, every single lady has something to contribute on this show. Pound, Heart, and Hustle needs a second season. We need to see LaToria dating and maybe start the adoption process or her new career. Yes, this is really important what you said, Ms. Z. Season 2, I can already see like the storylines in their life. We're going to have a bigger ranch. I was loving the ranch that Will and Labrina had. Now, Pop is with her full time. That was also on her card. You see Pop out there doing some chores. Pop went over there with Daddy. I think he was, kind of hanging out a little bit or doing a little more of what he wanted to do. And they said his grades dropped a little bit, but we had that powerhouse scene from them. Will told him I never saw him as a stepson. They embraced him. We got to see almost everybody in therapy or therapy sessions. We had a marriage counseling session. She's divorcing the man. So I'm not going to say that didn't work. It actually did work. She able to do what she needed to do, which was move on, especially since she can't trust the man. Would love to see Labrina's new ranch, Rose's next career move. We need to see Chloe's event business. Yes, if you follow Chloe on IG, that said Chloe has some really beautiful, breathtaking events. Welcome in, Mama B's. Mama B's one of the moderators. She came in. We rated we did a recap of the season and then actually rated this episode a 9 and the whole season a 9. Everybody says season 2. We can see a lot more from these ladies. I love Heart and Hustle Houston. I'd love to see more eyes on it. I'd love to see their numbers grow. I'd love to see the city of Houston embrace it. I see them do a lot of press. And then Ms. Z let us know that was 3 years ago that they shot this. So they shopped it around to a lot of different networks. And we finally get it. We got it on OWN. I think it is just a wonderful, heartwarming show. I think all the 6 ladies did a great job. And that's it. I'm going to end with their picture just so you see everyone. The beautiful Labrina to the far left. We have Ro. Then we have Chloe in the middle. LaToria in the burnt orange dress. Elena in the hoop earrings and the short haircut. And then Munira is on the end. Mama B's can go along with the 9. It was a pretty good season. I enjoyed it as well. They had the one misstep. That's where they lost a point for me when they tried to artificially bring drama that we did not need. This is a delicate balance of women. We see that they have little misunderstandings and things, but nothing that was too bad where they can't come back together and become even closer. So I was nervous about what they were doing when they tried to introduce foolishness, but the fans, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to see it. I love it. So welcome in, Mama B's. Thank you so much. And Team Replay, thank you, Team Replay. Cece's giving you a hug, Mama B's, and she's laughing. So thank you, Team Replay. If you come back and you watch this later, I appreciate it. Just please remember to like the video. If you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe. I thank my new subscribers. I got a few new subscribers that went through Heart and Hustle with me. I had wrote over here in the comments 1 week, so I appreciate that as well. The ladies do a lot of press for this show, and this is a great show. It's not with CK's production company. I think it was called Motion Entertainment from what I remember at the end. So it's great. Thank you, Miss Z. I appreciate it. She's telling me great video and complimenting me. I appreciate that. I'm going to leave Cece up because she's saying have a blessed week, everyone. Yes, this is Sunday. We're heading into a new week. So everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a great week coming up. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. I'll see you in the YouTube streets.